If I were to make one video for children, this would be the one. And now, most of the people who are going to watch the video might not like it because there aren't any quick fixes, things are so confusing. I've made this video for all those children who are around 2 years of age, and especially for Aniket's brother. For all those people who are trying to teach the children, their brothers or sisters, my first question to them is, what do you think education or study is? Because this is the focal point where all your efforts for your child revolve. And if your answer is something like this, to become a doctor or an engineer or a scientist or maybe a successful businessman, then what you're doing is that you're shutting your eyes to all those 100 traits your child showed in the age he was and also when she grew older, like traits to become an athlete or a chef or perhaps a kung fu master. So, when you have narrowed your mind, so will be your child. Your child is an inner reflection of your own self. So, the first thing that you need to change is your temperament, or at least try to do so, before embarking on the thing called as teaching. If you're one of those parents who live in India and who think grades or marks are the most important thing your child should strive for, and you don't want to change even one bit, then this video is not for you. Okay, my question to you is, what do you think study is? Study is all about learn how to learn and unlearn. It's all about keeping your mind empty. It's all about to have the ability to judge between right and wrong. So let's introduce numbers to children. Children already know numbers, they know a lot of it. By the age of 2, they have learned a lot of it. How do I know? Okay, let's start by this question. The first person in his life was his mother. The second person was his father. Or both of them together. Or perhaps many in the family. But what about this? Millions and billions and trillions of stars that he saw in the sky. Or you think that you taught him numbers? What you did, that you only named the numbers. You already knew it. You just added something to it, that you named it. So, while teaching numbers, never disconnect the child with what he already knows to a new thing that you're adding. Like for example, when you're talking to a child about numbers, then and if you show the examples of things those have numbers in them, like 2 apples, so it is very necessary that you should show some objects that is equal to the name of the number that you have used, like 3 oranges. In the same way, you're going to move up to 10, but after that you're not going to tell him 11, 12, 13, but straight away jump to 20. And don't forget to couple it with physical entities that equals the name of the number. Similarly, you're moving up to 10, 20, and then 30, added a 10, 40. Every time you're going to do that, and there must be something you can couple it with. Like, when you move up to 50, there are various ways to do that. Add a 10, and another 10, and another 10, make it 90 or 100. Or perhaps you can take a jump straight from 50 to 100, and from 100 to a 200, or 100 to a 150, back and forth, from 150 to 200. But remember, but every time there is an object that is equal to the name of the number you are using. Remember, it is a damn slow process. It might take a year or so in teaching the children the understanding of the numbers. One of the way to do that, what I resorted to, is I use 2 or 3 packs of cards. Now, one way to do that is, like, you can take 2 of hearts and you can ask the child to count it, and you see he can count it up to 6. Did you see one thing? You introduced multiplication to him. Three twos are 6. And you can have similar combination of numbers. Two tens are 20 or three threes are 9, but preferably it should be in fives and tens. In the same way, your child has reached up to 6 now. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. You can ask a question, how many twos are there in 6? And you have introduced to something called as division to him. Now, by this time you might have understood that your child has learned addition. Now you can give him questions. He should be orally able to do it. The idea is that you first set the boundary of tens and fives, and then occasionally introduce him to patterns like the one you see over here: 20 added to a 7, 50 added to a 7, back and forth, give the 7, take back the 7, and then 55 added to a 10, and so many patterns like these. Try to use your own brain and make your own worksheets for your child. This is not an exhaustive lesson, but yeah, it again gives you a boundary how to work with children. When you see that your child is having a hang of the numbers, try to introduce him to millions and billions and trillions. You're not trying to teach them, you're just trying to show him the beauty of numbers, that the numbers are endless. Now it's time to do some writing work. Before this, you're quite sure that your child knows everything orally. Now, adding 25 to a 25, the horizontal way is preferable and not the vertical way, because he might be learning the same thing in school also. And I hate this one. You know the carryover stuff? 5 and 5 are 10, and you get a 1, you put it on the top, and then you add 2 and a 2 and a 5. Bizarre. You're just narrowing down the mind of the child. You're not helping him see the numbers, but you have just made him narrow down his mind. Okay, when a child adds, this is what it does in his brain. When you ask him a question, 25 and a 25, either orally or in written, this is what he should do. 20 and a 20, first he sees the whole, the bigger part of the number. 20 and a 20 are 40, and then he does 5 and a 5 are 10, adding 40 and 10, and then he gets a 50. Now here is the checklist that you can use to see what your child has learned. This time he must have understood the number in a formal way, and writing numbers up to 100 or thereabout, but not all of them, and doing addition, subtraction, multiplication, division, as I was talking about. These are not done overnight or in a day or two. It might take a year or so to do that, as I told you. Don't be in a hurry, have patience. Patience is a virtue. Now, you might have occasionally introduced him to symbols like plus and minus. Even if you have not done it, there isn't any problem, but he still understands it. So when you are giving him some written things, just ask him to do it and say the question to him: what would you get if you add a 50 and a 10? You don't have to even explain them the symbols. He can see that when you add something, that is the one that symbolizes addition. Don't oversimplify stuffs for him. So if he could answer it orally, he could also write it. But at times you might see he flips the numbers. Like for example, he might write 60 to be a 0 and a 6. That's not a problem. It's very natural. Take a look at it. Like 50 and a 10, and over here you see 60 minus a 10. So he knows it. He's done it already. So he'd be able to do that. Maybe you might get a wrong answer at times, but do ask him orally and you might get the right answer. That tells you that the child knows it. Maybe he's not comfortable writing it. For the parents, who are watching my video and who have already introduced the children to numbers, this is what they can check. If their children are able to do all of the things given over here orally and they are not resorting to finger counting, everything is okay then. But if at all they're using finger counting for adding numbers like these 4 and 3, 7 and 2, 18 and 3, there is not a problem. But a question like this, if they are adding it like this, 8 and 3 finger counting, and then trying to visualize the carryover stuff and then adding 1, 2 and 1, then that's wrong. It should have been done the way it's written over here, like 20 and a 10 are 30, 8 and a 3 are 11, and then 30 and 11 are 41. They might take some time, but they will do it. If they're not doing it, there's a bit of a problem. And again, if they are using the vertical way, that's going to be a big problem in a long run. Now, I've got a case study of my own son. I never sent him to school until he was 6. The first time he went to school, and now he's 7.5, a second grader. The schools are very important because you have to learn the social skills. Now, these are certain questions that he has done. You can pause the video and take a look at it. And you can understand nobody can teach it this way. That means the child has learned everything on his own. Thanks for watching the video.